Hello, career thought leaders. It's good to see you today. And we are going to be talking about your digital brand. What do you need to do to not just show up in searches, but be that person that folks reach out to, whether you're working with a client that's looking for a job or you're doing this for yourself? So on Tuesday, we talked about the 3 levels of digital branding or branding in general. And I think this is really important because when you are optimizing your online profile, that is awesome, right? We got this solid foundation. We have, we have the SEO that we need, all of those things. But then we've got to think deeper because everybody can keyword optimize their profile today. It's really not that hard. We'll talk about that a little bit today. But if you are wanting to go beyond findable, and really be influential or sought after. We want to not just be found, right? We want to be chosen. So, how do we do that? We talked about the 3 levels of branding. So, the first one is that being findable. That I've done the work we're going to talk about today, and I've done the research, and I know that my profiles are optimized. I've got the pieces together, right? But that's so passive, and we can't afford to be passive today. Our clients can't afford to be passive today. I was talking to one of our colleagues about, she and I are kind of underspoken people. We would love to probably just be in the background, but that is not reality when you want to have a business or when you want to get the job you want. You can't just sit back and wait for people to find you. That doesn't work today. There's too much competition. There's too much AI noise. There's too much going on. So yes, even our folks that are more introverted, we have to help them find a way that works for them and can still feel authentic and interesting and engaging. But we have to go beyond just, optimizing that profile and hope that it will work. So the second level is going beyond passive to make those thoughtful comments, to engage with people in our community. And this can be good for an introvert too, right? It's not about being visible. It's not about having tons of followers or going viral. Those things actually don't help you much in being influential, it turns out. It's about being connected and really having relationships and using digital tools to do that, so that in the process of having those conversations, we're also building visibility. Now, I'll say that this stage doesn't just require engaging, it also requires that even in our profile content, we've gone beyond keyword matching, and we're really thinking about how our market, how our audience is going to engage with that content. It's not just about keywords. It's about what do they care about and how am I engaging in that conversation, even on my profile. And then level 2, I start doing it in the comments and conversations. Level 3 is that I start creating content. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean social media posts or posting every day or whatever you might think. I was talking to an executive just this week who's in the tech space and said posting every day on LinkedIn is a negative for him and his peers. It shows that you don't have anything else to do, that you're a tryhard, right? So that is not something I'm encouraging clients to do, even executives. Once a week, probably fine. But in what other ways could they be creating content that would help them show up as an authority? Could they get on a podcast? Is there a place where they can be quoted? Maybe even more influential and related to the industry. So yes, they're creating content, but it doesn't have to be social media posts. If they do want to create those social media posts, maybe once a week is fine. In fact, even amongst our colleagues, there's some chat that posting every day might be causing trouble for you and I as coaches. So things to think about and things to pay attention to. So that level 3 is sharing your thought leadership, not just posting on social media. So, be a little broader than that, but you're sharing your thought leadership, not just reacting to the thought leadership of others by commenting, which is important. So level 1, I'm optimized my profile. I focus most on keywords. Level 2, I'm engaging in comments, and I've thought about it in my profiles, not just that they're keyword optimized, but that they are branded, that they're connecting to my audience, that I'm telling stories that matter, that I'm thinking about what will they be looking for to connect with, engage with, continue the conversation. And then I'm commenting and engaging in conversations beyond my profile. And then level 3 is that authority, where I'm out there sharing my thought leadership on somewhat of a regular basis. I'm in the world of my community on a regular basis so that I can build those connections and relationships, because that's how you build influence today. It's not about going viral anyways. It's about having relationships where people care what you're saying, where they'll share what you're saying with other people. So I want you to think about yourself. Are you at level 1, level 2, level 3? And I want you to think about your clients. Where are they at on those levels? And how can you help them make the next step? Because I got to tell you, going from a passive profile to actually engaging is scary for most of us, right? We teach our certified digital brand strategist class. Part of what people do in that class is take these steps themselves. So it's not just if you want to help a job seeker, find a job online. We've got a short program for that. This is if you and your clients really want to go deep and think about how you build your digital influence. That's what we're looking for. And it's challenging. It's scary. It takes most people 6 months to get from step 1 to step 2, not because they don't know what to post or because they don't know how to post. Those things are actually easy. When someone says, I don't know what to post, what they actually mean is, right? Like, what are people going to say to what I post? Will it matter? Will I get a bunch of trolls? Will it go deaf ears? But it's really not knowing what to post. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. And I see it every 6 months when we do this program. And then, 4 to 6 months after that, when people start to click and start to realize what they can do to actually take that step. So if you're thinking about taking these steps for yourself, what is it that's going to keep you engaged with your community? What I find is most of the time, it's really understanding what they need, what you want to offer so that you can connect the dots. And that's where we start our digital branding audit. So here's some things that I see people saying that I just want to call out for a second. One, I'm still going to classes where someone says, oh, Google yourself. Oh, look, your LinkedIn profile shows up first. Oh, yeah, that's because we spent time optimizing it yesterday. No, your LinkedIn profile shows up first in your Google results on your computer because you go to your LinkedIn profile. If you want to know a little bit more what Google results look like when someone else searches for you, you need to use an incognito browser. And even then, it is somewhat skewed by what you search, because Google is connected everywhere. Even when you're in that incognito browser, you've got a little bit of shadow. Go to an incognito browser before you search yourself if you're going to do the first level of a digital audit, which is Google thyself. Of course, we can't just Google today. We've got to go to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, at least a few of those, and see what does it know about you? What is it saying about you? And you put in your name, you get some responses, you see how valid are those? How clear are those to relating to me versus to relate to someone else? And that is a good first level just to see what's already out there for you. And this is one of the articles that's in our newsletter that's about to go out today, is that these systems are building a digital brand for you. If you're not contributing to it very much or very well, it's still out there. They're still building that for you. So I'd love you to do that. Go to one of these, type in your name, see what does it know about you? What would it say about you? What if it built a bio for you? What would it say? It's a great activity just to see what's already there. So another thing that I'm hearing people say that doesn't work that way anymore is look at LinkedIn and bring me 5 competitors. LinkedIn won't do that. It won't let the search see your competitors. When you're doing, any kind of search, but definitely in an LLM, they shut off their access. So if I go to ChatGPT and I say, tell me the influencers in the career space using LinkedIn, it will kind of lie. And it will find those things in other articles. It will find references to LinkedIn profiles in other articles. And it might still get me to the ultimate goal of finding those competitors. But it's important I realize it's not actually going to LinkedIn and doing a search to see who the competitors are there. It just can't do that. If I want to do that as part of my digital branding research, I'm going to have to go to LinkedIn, type in the search terms, and do it that way. So if you're helping, an electrical engineer do research on their competitors, the best way to do that is going to be to do the search on an LLM, see what it comes up with, click through to the articles, make sure you click through and see what they're talking about. It will not link directly to LinkedIn profiles, right? So you'll see that and you can click through, maybe it'll have a list of something or whatever. But then you want to go to LinkedIn and search for typically companies that are similar to where your client has been, or maybe where they think they want to go, and then find electrical engineers who are working for those companies. That's going to be the best peer-to-peer comparison. And then you can download their profiles or do whatever you want to do the comparison and take their names out that, you don't need to be uploading that back into the LLM. Maybe you'll just copy some of their abouts and put them in one document, some of their other stuff and put it in another document or whatever, so that you can use it for the comparison. But you're thinking about just you first, and then we'll move into the comparison piece. But I just wanted to highlight the fact that you can't say, go to my LinkedIn profile, go to this LinkedIn profile. It doesn't work in an LLM. Okay, that's a large language model like ChatGPT, those types of things. So let's talk about this process. You've gone out, you've found what's already out there about you. Now let's start building your brand, and we can use some cool tools to do this. So the first one that I'm going to talk about today is Notebook LM. We've talked about Notebook LM before, but this is a little bit different use of it in terms of what we're bringing in here. So I was trying to do this earlier and my computer crashed. So we'll see how it's all put together. But let me just share with you Notebook LM on my screen. If you're joining us or watching the replay, say hello. Let me know where your clients are at in terms of the steps of the brand. And if you're thinking about how you can help them take those steps, think about that as well. Okay, so let's get into Notebook LM. So I put in a bunch of text, what's the right word? A bunch of transcripts of things that I have done. I could actually also put in the YouTube video links, but I had a whole bunch of transcripts downloaded that for another project I just did. So instead of going to YouTube and putting in the YouTube links, I just uploaded all the transcripts. The other thing that I put in here is our website, where my bio is on the website, and you can see my bio there. And so I wanted to put in my bio. I could also copy and paste my LinkedIn profile in here. The about section, I could put in any other bios I have. I could put in any letters of recommendation. Those would be a good addition here. What I'm doing is I'm building an arsenal of stuff on me, right? So that I can do some things with it around how my brand shows up. So let's just start with some simple prompts. So when you're in Notebook LM, you've got all of your sources, but then you also have the opportunity to chat here. So I'm just going to say, based on the uploaded materials, and we'll see what we get. So the more you upload, the better this will be. And of course, you can ask many different questions as you go through looking at your brand voice, thinking about who's the best audience for this, which I'll ask it just to see. So it gives me a little brand voice outline here: direct and action-oriented, educational, empathetic, authenticity, strategic, future-focused. It did a pretty good job, right? So then I could ask it, and I don't know why I'm talking about myself in third person, but I just didn't want to take the time to explain it all. Now, it's important if you want to save this, like I would want to save this to a note, and then it will show up over here in my studio. And then it's going to tell me who's the best audience for this. I do have a persona, an audience persona that I could upload so that it would say, this is the audience I really care about. What would they be searching for someone like me? That would be ideal. And if you haven't gone through our audience persona process, we do that in the sandbox. So if you're interested in joining the AI sandbox, it's a year-long opportunity to engage with people around using AI in career services, or some of our previous live streams, we talk about it a little bit. But I could say, what is this audience? So again, if I was thinking about my electrical engineer, I could say, what keywords are people searching for to find this kind of person? And now I get some input here. And the clearer I am about my target audience and what I hope to be found for, the better this outcomes would be. But I love Notebook LM. I love how smart it is. It seems to float the best stuff to the top. And of course, since you can upload a whole bunch of things, we can really build a big picture of who we are. So you can upload files, you can upload docs, you can upload links from just a website or a YouTube, and then you can copy paste in. And even for free, you get 50 sources and you get 50 notebooks. So if you wanted to help a client do this, and it doesn't pull from anything else that you're not putting in as sources. So it's not like kind of ChatGPT where you have to worry about, is it looking at your other prompts when you're doing something like that for a client. Even if you're on a custom GPT, there still is some bleed over. So it's a nice way to know that it's discrete, right? That this is just looking at this one set of information, and then I can still chat with it. And now in some ways you've created a small language model where it's just focused on the content that you've put in. And then I could go and I could have it write me a bio. I could have it draft me, talking points. I could do a lot of other things in here that you would do with any other large language model, but it's all going to be focused on just this content that I've uploaded. So I love that about Notebook LM. I think if you're looking to analyze brand voice, look at what people care about, all those types of things, it's a great place to start. Now you may want to do some of the other things we're going to talk about and then feed those back in. So for instance, if you want to know what are people searching for when they're searching for a person like my client, one of the best ways to do that is to grab job descriptions or use LinkedIn Explorer and look at the skills. What are the skill words? What things show up over and over again? Then you could go back and feed that data into Notebook LM so that it would know these are the things people are looking for me, and it could help you build that persona, build that brand around that piece. Some of the other things we talk about when we talk about digital branding, like content threads or pillars or whatever you want to call them, it could help you define that too. As long as you've put in enough of your content and enough about who your audience is, you upload that persona document, and then it can connect the dots for you. You can ask it how to connect to your audience, what types of conversations, conversation starters, post ideas to get you started. And then you could feed that all back into something like a custom GPT, or recently I've been using gems in Gemini. Gems and Gemini are the exact same thing as custom GPTs, except for they're only accessible by you. And if that's the way you're using it anyways, it may be a good free option since you have to pay to get custom GPTs inside of ChatGPT. So as you're thinking about this process, remember that we can get carried away in building the brand, but we want to start with the beginning. And if your client doesn't have content that they've written out there about themselves, they've got to start with that first. You don't want to put in a corporate bio or something like that and think it's going to give you brand voice. You have to go through and have them answer some of the most important questions, right? Why did they get into what they do? Why do they love what they do? What are some of their peak experiences where they've really been enjoying what they were doing and feeling proud about it? They're going to have to put that content in to get good content out, especially if they're not creators, and they probably aren't. They're going to have to spend some time on that part of it first. Then they could do the audience research, and then they can start to connect the dots, right? Really understanding what about me my audience cares about. You have to build the foundation for both of those things first. And then you can plug it into something like Notebook LM and really have it help you connect the dots, right? Are the words I'm using in my bio or profile the ones that I need in these job search postings or things that my audience is searching? And you can do this for yourself as a coach. Obviously, you can do it as job seekers. So go out there and start doing your digital brand audit. Yes, you can start with a search for yourself in an incognito browser of Google or any of the large language models. Then you've got to build up the information about yourself or your client using powerful questions, or maybe some things that you've written or done on video if you've got it. Do the same thing for your audience. Who are they? What do they care about? Analyze those job descriptions. And then you can have a chat with Notebook LM to put the pieces together. Do I have the right keywords? What keywords are the most important? What is my brand voice? How will my brand voice connect with the audience? You could just go on and dig so that you've got that clarity around what you want to be doing in your messaging as you move forward. And then remember that it's not about going viral. It's not about the, amount of content you've got out there. It's about making those connections and forming the relationships that you do through commenting and engaging and starting conversations. Yeah, Ben, thanks for that. Notebook LM is so cool. I love it. I use it a lot. And then you can even create, and it takes a while, so I won't demo it, but you can create an audio overview that is really neat too. And you could create an audio overview about yourself or about your audience, and have fun with that too. So thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday over on the Career Thought Leaders channels for Trend Tuesday Live. Have a great weekend.